What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Doubling Down with Colin Sheehan. I am so happy that last week's episode was the highest rated episode of Doubling Down, the most watched episode of all time. Thank you so much for all your support. Let's get back at it. What's up, everybody? Colin Sheehan here. Welcome back to Doubling Down on the Trust the Profits YouTube page. I'm glad to welcome in my good friend again, Keith, at each and every stride on Twitter. Keith, what's happening?
What's going on, Colin? Thank you for having me. I was glad to hear about last week's show getting streamed the highest. Be a tough act to follow, but that's what we do. We're gonna try to give you some winners and some value today.
That's right. That was the Sarah Ebaldwi bump, as I like to say. And I know you all tuned in for her picks, not for my picks. She does such an excellent job. And we decided to go with pick 3 because of Pegasus last week. I missed out on a tone. I had Art Collector and I had Queen Goddess, but we just couldn't get that middle race. So even if we did a daily double, I would have swung and missed. Kicking myself about not putting the best horse from the inside post on my ticket, and that was a stinger because I think that paid about $220. But first, we have to ask this week's big question. It's the question of the day here on Doubling Down with Colin Sheehan. Who wins the big game? Is it the Kansas City Chiefs or the Philadelphia Eagles? Keith, do you have a preference?
It's just with all the betting lines and everybody saying how even the game's going to be. I don't know. It's I was saying off air. I'm actually a Raider fan, so I'm kind of no strong opinion in this game. But if I had to choose, I'd say Philadelphia maybe is on a run here. They kind of haven't been in the Super Bowl in a few years and got some talent. So I'll go with the Eagles if I had to choose. What about you, Colin?
I'm leaning Chiefs if I had to choose, and I'm not a sports betting person, but I'd go Chiefs in the under. I feel like the Super Bowl always, everyone's talking about how good the offenses are, and then they, this is a Super Bowl. They win from defense. Right. If you're looking at it like a horse race, to me, the Philadelphia Eagles have had a easier run playing the Giants and then a Purdy-less 49ers team, whereas the Chiefs have played some legit competition. So to me, they are better in class, as they like to say. So speaking of horse races, let's take a look at the Doubling Down standings with Colin Sheehan. We didn't include the pick 3 last week. This is only the standings based on daily doubles. Keith's come on here and hit pick 3s and a couple pick 4s. This is strictly the daily double that we have done on this show through 21 episodes on plus $42. Keith, you're here for your 4th time. A little bit in the red there, but I think you have a great opportunity this week to get that back.
Oh, yeah. Just going to get into that green and, keep plugging away here and, hopefully move up the charts there. Yep.
It's been a tough thing to do for the guests, so hopefully you can
make that
happen. Yeah. That's right. So we've decided this weekend for our daily double to head over to Gulfstream Park and look at races number 11 and number 12. This is Saturday, February 4th. Remember, race 12 is your Holy Bull Stakes, which is a Kentucky Derby points eligible race. Probably the best, I will say absolutely the best race of the 3 Derby stakes races that are Derby point races that are happening this weekend. But first, we have to get through race 11, which is a mile and a 16th. This is for the fillies, 3-year-olds, going a mile and a 16th on the turf at Gulfstream Park. You have a field of 9. I really like the 7 Cairo Consort here. This horse, she ran in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf. That was the one that was won by Meditate. Finished 3rd, 4 lengths behind. And if you follow me on Twitter, something I'm always talking about is that Breeders' Cup bounce. The horses that race in the Breeders' Cup really get tuned up, and their focus is the Breeders' Cup. They're definitely a play against their next time out. Cairo Consort was only one of only a few handful of horses that were able to come back and win next time out. The speed figure was lower, but had a victory at Gulfstream Park and a mile on the turf. Beating a field of 8, was very reluctant to load, had a little bit of trouble, 2-3 wide, sat off the pace. One thing I paid attention to, not only is this horse trained by Todd Pletcher, you're getting Irad Ortiz. I really am intrigued by horses. I use Brisnet. The prime power of Cairo Consort over the next horse is 13 points higher. When it's 10 points or more higher, you're basically looking at a 45% win with that big of a difference. So Cairo Consort is not a horse I would recommend leaving off your ticket. You make that mistake and leave Cairo Consort off your ticket?
You know what? I actually have Cairo Consort on my ticket, but
We're good.
you know, I included a few other ones. You know, obviously I saw what you saw, the consistency there, and actually, yeah, was reluctant to load last, and then lost her footing in the beginning, and then even held on for a game win, and just with those connections, and already has a win over this turf course. Definitely a must include. I did include a few other ones though. I just wanted to hopefully create some value that way. And I actually included number 3, Mally Moo. And I'll explain to you why. This is actually her second run here in America. And I just have very intrigued by this filly as far as her second run now, and in the barn of Jack Sisterson, and actually came from the Joe O'Brien barn in Ireland, and ran well over there. And I just actually was really intrigued after this last effort on December 10th over the start there. And found all sorts of trouble. And as you see here, Mally Moo actually hesitated badly out of the gates there in the start. Spotted this field, at least 5 lengths right there, right out of the start, and you don't even see her in the picture at all. So, all these horses are kind of spurting around the first turn, and Mally Moo is just trying to catch up. I thought the jockey did a great job just to not panic and kind of save ground on the rail there. Now you see this horse full of run chasing, Juniper Marshmallow home here. But look at these strides and, just powering home. I just thought it was a nice effort after, that troubled start, hesitated start there. Second time, starting here in America, and, getting a little bit of a refreshing from December 10th. Comes back with some solid works here. And, I don't know what the morning line is yet on this horse, but I would say I'm hoping for some value there. Second time, looks like a talented runner, even from the synthetic in Ireland. And it's actually that 5 horse from that same race is in this race also. That's Stephanie's Charm. I decided to leave Stephanie's Charm off my ticket. This is a winner of one race, a maiden race. I don't really like that post too much from a closing standpoint. And I know that runner, she came charging home also, but she was one I actually left off. Did you include anybody else, Colin?
The only one I included as well was the 3, Mally Moo. I think you're spot on with your assessment of that last race, where when you break like that, what shot do you have, especially as a 3-year-old filly? I mean, let's watch this one more time, and just Definitely. This is the number 7. Look at the 7. These are 3-year-olds, and I mean the gap there is pretty significant to try and overcome. And as we jump ahead to the finish, like you said, full of run. And the 5 there is bursting through too. That is the one that you had mentioned, Stephanie's Charm. I didn't go with Stephanie's Charm either. I think because I really liked Cairo Consort, it was a stretch for me to even add Mally Moo. That's how you say it, right? Yeah, Mally Moo. So we'll bring in the ticket, and that's all I decided to go with was the 3 and the 7. You also added the 8, Heavenly Sunday, and the 5, Alphabella. What'd you like about Alphabella?
Yeah, it's just this is a big time filly. I think a big chance to improve. These connections with Saez and Pletcher, and I just was impressed with the last run. I know it wasn't the strongest field, but these fillies, as you know and as you've seen, they could just improve dramatically the next race. And her figures actually jumped up with that win. And this is the second time blinkers. And I think the blinkers will actually help her get into a good position. And it's actually, I was looking up her dam here actually has a great rate for turf routes. Let me pull that up here. It's 19% winner so far from her dam going around this distance. So that's a nice angle right there. And I just thought, there's a chance for this improvement. And then I also included Heavenly Sunday. I was impressed with the run, also saving ground there, going up the rail with an easy victory and lightly raced and only the third start of her career. So trying to create some value. And but yeah, I do feel pretty strong also about your 7. So, but I am going with 3, 7, 5, and 8 there.
Awesome. On to leg 2 of our daily double, which is race 12, the Holy Bull Stakes at Gulfstream Park on Saturday, February 4th. They are going a mile and a 16th on the dirt. Field of 8. Interesting field for sure. Yeah. There's 3 horses that I have kind of had my eye on as I saw the field for this, and that is Rocket Can, Cyclone Mischief, and Legacy Isle. Those are kind of the 3 that you're probably hearing the most chatter about. 2 of those I am interested in. 1 I am not, and another one that I'm interested in is 1 Lord Miles. But who did you go with on top?
I actually went with Lord Miles on top. That's my top play. I'll explain why. I mean, this is, third start here. And, I think we'll appreciate the distance. The last race there, as I look it up here, in the Mucho Macho Stakes, this horse was closing with a fury to finish third here. I watched the replay. I think, Lord Miles will actually appreciate this distance. And, I actually, in this instance, I kind of like the rail draw a little bit. I mean, you could kind of at least, move over to the rail, kind of save some ground and make that move. Hopefully we'll appreciate the distance. And then it comes back with some nice works here, as I see, has a bullet 5 furlong on January 27th. And I just feel like, with these connections here, Safi Joseph and Irad jumps aboard here. So that was another one of my big plays here. Irad was on Mr. Bob, the 5 last time. So it's another telling sign sometimes when the jockeys make that decision. So I think it's a live runner. I really lightly raced and like the number 1. You touched on a few runners. Who else do you like here?
Yeah, I love the 1 Lord Miles too for all the reasons that you just said. The other horse that came out of that race that was the winner of the Mucho Macho Man was your number 6, Legacy Isle. Legacy Isle is 3 for 3, and that might jump off the paper to some. He's also had improving speed figures in all 3 races. The one thing I'm like to pay attention to, he's actually was actually placed 2nd through disqualification for the last race. Sorry, so technically 3 for 3, was placed 2nd in the last race, but the exact same reason that you said, the 1 was closing like a you-know-what with a late surge. I think that little extra distance, especially being sired by Curlin, is going to be a benefit for Lord Miles and possibly a negative for Legacy Isle if people are looking at the past performances on Legacy Isle. So I had the 1 on top as well, but I'm also intrigued with number 4, Cyclone Mischief. This horse finished 7th in the Kentucky Jockey Club. So when people are paying attention to just the finishes, if you're not looking closely, 7th in the Kentucky Jockey Club, is not as bad as it sounds because of the field that was in the Kentucky Jockey Club. But this horse also only finished 2 3/4 lengths behind the winner. So if you remember in the Kentucky Jockey Club, it was a sprint of a full cavalry of horses to the finish there. Instant Coffee had the clean run down the middle to pass them all. In that same field, you had Red Route 1, who I think finished 4th or 5th, was full of run, but just couldn't get through that wall of horses. So this horse did lack a late response in that race, but then came back here at Gulfstream on January 8th and drew off, showed that, definitely had the response. Now, the one concern would be that the Kentucky Jockey Club was a mile and a 16th, like this race is. The last race for Cyclone Mischief was at a mile,
Right.
but Cyclone Mischief 3-back does have a victory at a mile in the 16th. Tyler Gaffalione is aboard. The last speed figure going by Brisnet in that last race was the one of the highest. It actually was the highest, as I just flipped through here and see. So the 4 Cyclone Mischief is the other horse I included on my ticket, which you did as well.
Oh yeah, it actually Gaffalione won this race last year. With with the nice win. I mean, as far as Cyclone Mischief, yeah, I mean, I like these horses that have a win over this surface at Gulfstream, and you get Gaffalione again. With one last year with White Barrio. So I just think that Dale Romans has a runner here. Dale Romans hasn't had a Kentucky Derby contender in a long time, so this could be one into Mischief sire. So I think it's definitely a big contender. It's actually my second pick here. And then I did include the number 8, Rocket Can. You're hearing a lot about this horse on Twitter and on all the shows. This seems like a pretty live horse here. They tried sprinting in New York. First 2 starts didn't really work out, but it's found itself stretching out. And the Colts Dam was winless, but then it looks like the sire, as I wrote here, is actually the second dam is Tough Tiz's sister, who is a 2-time Grade 1 winner at this distance and is by Tiz now. So has some bloodlines there. And I just think that also I actually like the outside post and I like the distance for Rocket Can. So it's actually my third choice. So I did include the 8 there as well.
Yeah, 2 concerns for me. I included the 8 as well, Rocket Can. Rocket Can had a very game second against Confidence game, November 26th. Remember, that was that 2-year-old day at Churchill Downs that Saturday when it's all 2-year-old races. And we did a top 5 best finishes of 2022 for 2-year-olds. And this race was one of those top 5. And it was a really great stretch run between Confidence Game and Rocket Can. Confidence Game came back to finish 3rd in the Lecomte, right? So, and the last 2 speed figures for Rocket Can that he was assigned, 96 and 91, are impressive. 2-back, the thing that concerns me is that there was a very slow pace that was in the slop, so he was able to take advantage of being close to the front on that slower pace. And then also switching back to Junior Alvarado, the 2 races with Junior Alvarado aboard were certainly less than flattering. Of course, you can always kind of throw out the first one. Second one lost by 16 lengths to Instant Coffee, so you can't really blame him as much there. These horses are not in the same field of play as Instant Coffee. It's kind of that little tier below probably, but I can certainly see Rocket Can getting up to get the victory here. If I was going to, because I think if Cairo Consort wins that first leg, we've also got some low-priced horses here in the second leg. I'd probably drop Rocket Can and use Cyclone Mischief and Lord Miles to make that ticket even shorter. Although I'm only going $6, so not too much.
Exactly. That is a concern. I always said this actually on your last show, you got to look at the probables and, you don't want to hit a ticket and then, lose money. That's probably the worst possible thing there. So,
that's my
Legacy's Isle, interesting runner. I'm not a huge fan of the extra distance for this runner. I don't really see a lot of speed actually in the Holy Bull. And if Legacy Isle gets the lead, I don't know if he's going to be able to hold on. I mean, I know Saez is good on the front end, but I just didn't want to take too many, top choices there, too many close to the morning line. So, we're not sure who the morning line favorite is as of right now, but I would probably predict it would be Cyclone Mischief if I had to choose.
Yeah, I'd agree. Cyclone Mischief's shown that early speed, so hopefully Cyclone Mischief gets the jump on Legacy Isle. You do have a pace scenario here where you just said that the only early speed is Legacy Isle, and that certainly can play out. I think you're right in Lord Miles having the inside post isn't a bad thing, especially with that turn coming up quickly at Gulfstream at the mile in the 16th configuration. Being inside is never a bad thing with that turn coming up so quick.
Should be a good race though. Yep.
So I go 3-7 in leg 1 with the 148 for a $6 ticket. Keith goes 3-5-7-8 with the 148 for a $12 ticket to try and get back into the green. It looks like we have a pretty well overlapped ticket. Basically, if I win, you're going to win. So that is good. You can win without me winning. So I don't know that we've ever had both people, me and my guest, hit on the same day, but I think this is
truly a doubling down show then right there. Yep.
That is right. That is right.
Good.
Awesome,
Very
Keith.
good.
Thanks so much for
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
And good luck putting together your Tour de Force bet for the Robert B. Lewis. It's going to be a tricky one.
You're boxing a lot of horses there. Yep. Good luck.